Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you back to Taylor Sanders Field here on the campus of Southwestern University. Game 3, the 2018 SCAC Softball Championship. So glad you could join us here on SHN Sports. Alongside James Hill, I'm Kit McConico. We've seen our two quarterfinals, and now we will see the number 1 seed, the Texas Lutheran University Bulldogs, winners of 49 in a row in conference play, looking for their 5th consecutive SCAC tournament title. They have won 27 in a row, their lone loss of the year. Well, that came to the number 1 ranked team in the country back on March the 4th, falling to the defending champion, Virginia Wesleyan. So the Bulldogs take on the ladies of Centenary. Centenary 4-0 victors in their first quarterfinal match earlier today over Trinity. And the question for the ladies is, can they figure out a way to hit Maitland Raycroft, the 5'10 senior right-hander from Spring, Texas, out of Klein High School, one of the best in the conference, one of the best pitchers in the country.
Absolutely. Excited to see her this weekend. She comes in 16-0 on the season, making her 19th start, 23rd appearance, 1.04 ERA, 10 complete games, 5 shutouts, including a save, 94 2/3 innings pitched. Leads the conference with 120 strikeouts to 34 walks. It's going to be a pleasure to see her pitch here today.
Centenary lineup almost the same as we saw earlier in their quarterfinal victory over Trinity. The lone change, that comes in the 8-hole, the designated player, Aaron Lewis, taking over. But he'll be their second baseman, second-team All-SCAC selection, Peyton LeBlanc, at the plate leading things off. Quick 1-0 count. So LeBlanc will be followed by the third baseman, Margot Smith, the right fielder, Anna Dunn. First team All-SCAC leads the conference in home runs, and that's going to be a battle between Raycroft and Dunn.
I was just going to say, you excited about that one coming up? That's going to be, I think, a fun little matchup. You see early on, Raycroft coming out, maybe a little too amped up right now. You've seen a couple pitchers go flying as the count goes to 2-1.
That one finds the bottom of the zone. Count evens 2-2 to LeBlanc.
A little bit of a quick turnaround, so pardon us as we kind of get our house in order as we kind of ended our game about 25 minutes ago with Southwestern and Dallas, and we're already got game 3 underway. Quick turnaround here at Taylor Sanders Field.
Count now full to LeBlanc. LeBlanc swings through it, goes down for the first out of the game. And with 1 up, 1 down, brings up the third baseman, Margot Smith, for the ladies.
Yeah, not a bad little at bat though by LeBlanc, despite striking out there. Got Raycroft to throw a few pitches there. Raycroft a little out of the zone to start. I imagine she will more than likely settle in here, but 1 away now with Smith at the plate.
Smith, who had 2 walks and 3 at-bats in their quarterfinal victory over Trinity.
And she's going to be the pitcher today. She'll face that Bulldog lineup, but she was key. Those 2 walks ended up turning into runs. The 1 walk she got, followed up by an Anna Dunn home run, gave Centenary their early 2-0 lead. And then the second walk she was able to get brought 2 more runs home and made it a 4-0 game. She fouls that one straight back in the count. Now at 2-1 as we're just underway with the number 2 team in the country, number 1 team at the SCAC Championship, taking on the number 4 seed Centenary ladies.
2-1. Low count moves to 3-1.
I always find these games interesting, Kit, just for the fact that Centenary's played a game today, TLU has not, and I don't think that's a disadvantage per se to Centenary either. You kind of already gotten a game on this field, you've gotten a feel for everything, and Margot Smith is going to get on with a walk.
So Smith draws the 1-out walk, and that brings up, well, the matchup everybody's been anticipating so eagerly. First team All-SCAC right fielder, the big bat in the conference, so to speak, Anna Dunn, taking on the top arm in Maitland Raycroft.
We gave you Raycroft's number. Dunn, 429 average, 31 runs scored, 9 doubles, a triple, 14 home runs, which ties the SCAC regular season or SCAC season record, and 47 RBI as she takes strike one.
Take a look at the rest of that Bulldogs defense. Alyssa Cantu behind the plate as the catcher. Get you the infield after the 0-1. And this is lifted, but foul. Count quickly moves to 0-2 to Dunn. The infield for the Bulldogs. Kayla Lockley at third. Cassie Roach at short. Madison Cates at second. Kelsey McEachron at first. The outfield, Skylar Lett in left. Kelly Jordan in center. And McKay Bloxham in right.
You can see early on Raycroft really working that changeup in. Got a really nice changeup that throws batters off balance.
The second batter struck out in the first three faced. And brings the catcher, Sydney Hurley, second team all-conference selection up to the plate.
Hurley at 291 average, 5 doubles, 5 home runs, 21 RBI. This is a Centenary team. They can live and die by the long ball.
Chases it high, unable to lay off the rise ball for strike one.
And a very nice rise ball at that. Nice first pitch. Hurley chasing it.
Umpires for today, Daryl Woody behind the plate, Gwen Boudreau at first, Clyde Bartemus at third. The 0-1, just off the mark, evens the count. Beautiful day, 73 degrees and sunny here in Central Texas, and a very warm welcome wherever you may be joining us from.
And now I go back to my point with LeBlanc's at bat. Like, again, she made it to full count, ended up striking out, but you've already got Raycroft up to about 16 pitches in this first inning alone.
They're going to say that Hurley was unable to check the swing, and the count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You maybe try to help your cleanup hitter out here, try to get Smith maybe in scoring position, maybe try to move her, try to get her in motion.
In for a strike. Hurley goes down looking. So 3 strikeouts, a walk to Smith. A great start for Raycroft, and the Bulldogs coming up to bat for the first time in the bottom of the first. Bottom of the first, Bulldogs coming up to bat. They will face Margot Smith, the junior right-hander out of Ruston, Louisiana.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder, if you return a foul ball,
good old Ruston, 30 miles west of Monroe. Good little spot there, home of the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs.
Take a look at the rest of that Centenary defense. Sydney Hurley as the battery mate. The infield from third to first. Haley Miller on the hot corner. Becca Magoo at short. Peyton LeBlanc at second. Wendy Gillette at first. The outfield, Cassie Gonzalez in left. Kelsey Hanselot in center. And Anna Dunn in right for the ladies. Third baseman, Kayla Lockley leads it off for the Bulldogs. Lockley, the senior from Wharton, Texas, out of Bowling High School.
Lockley, a 394 hitter, 8 doubles, 20 RBIs on the season. She has 36 stolen bases in 37 attempts. That leads the conference.
Rips the 1-1 foul for strike 2. Wade Wilson, head coach of the Bulldogs. Sarah O'Brien, Dennis Moe, and Ed Zarzabal are the assistants. Mark Swear, the head coach of the ladies. Whitney Patterson and Bailey Shepard, the assistants there in Shreveport. Just outside, count evens at 2-2 to Lockley. Center fielder Jordan to follow, and the first baseman McEachron
Lockley, first team all SCAC selection.
Over to short, picked up by Magoo. And the throw to Gillette for the first out, 6-3.
Interesting start here with Margot Smith. She does not have nearly as many innings as Aldridge, who we saw earlier, and Taylor Abshire, but has been in the rotation lately. 4-3 on the season, a 3.18 ERA, making only her 4th start, 11th appearance, 1 complete game, 1 save, 39 2/3 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 6 walks.
Jordan, the freshman center fielder from Brenham, at the plate.
Jordan, another speedster on this team, a 375 average, 32 runs scored, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 16 RBI. She has 29 stolen bases this season out of 30 attempts, and I believe she's also a second team all SCAC selection.
0-2. Low and away for ball 1.
I think the common theme you're going to see here with Texas Lutheran is they're fast. And I can tell you that because they have 154 stolen bases this year in 167 attempts.
1-2 off the hands, picked up by the shortstop. Magoo to Gillette in time, and 2 up, 2 down for the Bulldogs here in the bottom of the first.
And, you know, the key, anytime you've got a lot of speedsters, you got a lot of people putting pressure on you. I mean, that's the thing. They want to put pressure on you. They want to make you make plays. You got to stick to your guns. You just got to be able to take a deep breath, make plays, and don't let the speed scare you.
First baseman Kelsey McEachern at the plate. McEachern, the senior from Atascocita out of Huffman High School.
McEachern, a 279 hitter, 5 doubles, and 22 RBIs on the season.
2-0 count. Margot Smith moving quickly. We mentioned 49 straight in conference for the Bulldogs, looking for their 5th consecutive conference softball tournament championship.
They have built quite the program down in Seguin. Wade Wilson and Sarah O'Brien, who's also been there as an assistant for a while, they have done just a wonderful job with this softball program and really joined the likes of the UT Tylers of the world and the East Texas Baptists of dominant softball programs in the state of Texas.
So McEachern draws the walk and brings up the cleanup hitter, designated player Haley Padilla. Padilla, the freshman out of Smithson Valley, just northwest of San Antonio.
Padilla, she takes strike 1, is a 370 hitter, 9 doubles, 7 home runs, and 25 RBI on the season.
Now you mentioned those schools like UT Tyler, East Texas Baptist, as Padilla fouls it off. Count goes to 0-2. One of the reasons that the Bulldogs may not have as many Women's College World Series appearances as they think they might, well, they have to go through a regional with the likes of the Patriots and the Tigers.
I mean, it's probably also the reason the Patriots and the Tigers don't have as many appearances as they probably should, because those three always seem to be paired together in a regional, which is just so unfortunate, you know, because those should be Women's College World Series types of matchups that you're getting in a regional. But Wade Wilson has built a team. I think his goal is, I want to build a team that can compete with those teams and beat those teams. And I think he's gotten to that point with the squad. You know, I think it's pretty safe to assume whether they win this 5th conference crown or not, we're going to be seeing them in regionals next week.
I think that is indeed a safe assumption. 2-2 high, and the count goes full to Padilla.
Yeah, Smith got off to a strong start. Now starting to miss some spots here a little bit, though, and TLU doing a good job working the count and staying patient.
Haley Padilla digs back in. 2 away, runner first. Payoff pitch. Good eye, watches it low and away, and the 2nd walk in a row issued by Margot Smith.
Kid, it's pretty simple. We've talked about numerous times how you can't walk people, you can't give free passes. You especially can't do it to a team like this. They will make you pay, and they're going to come up in a situation where they can take the early lead, which is the last thing you want to give to Texas Lutheran, as we're going to see a pinch runner come into the game. It'll be, I believe that is a 5.
Was indeed. That'll be Jordan Hensley, the junior from George West, pinch running.
Number 10, Madison Kate.
Taking the spot of McEachern at second. The second baseman, Madison Cates, comes up. Cates, the sophomore from Baytown Sterling.
And Cates going to come up with a 360 average, 5 doubles, a home run, 18 RBI on the season.
Initial offering, up and away. Low for ball 2.
A few of these pitches, I think you can see Smith getting a little frustrated, and I can't say I blame her because a few of these spots, I'm not quite sure where she's missing. That one looked to be well within the zone, but called a ball nonetheless.
3-0 to Cates. Smith able to retire the first 2 Bulldogs in order, and 2 walks in a row issued to McEachern and Padilla. Cates looking to give the Bulldogs the lead, and she has walked to load the bases. 3rd walk in a row by Smith.
And again, I don't know where that one even missed a little bit. I can see it in Smith's face. She is frustrated right now because I think she's thinking in her head, what is a strike right now?
That's a very tight zone early on from the home plate umpire, Daryl Woody.
Roach going to come to the plate. This is not the player you want to see. A 405 hitter, 10 doubles, 3 home runs, 17 RBI, and 29 runs scored.
Sophomore from Gregory Portland. Pops this one into right field. Dunn there to make the catch. The Bulldogs unable to take advantage, leave the bases loaded. It is scoreless through 1 between Centenary and TLU. Go scoreless between the ladies and the Bulldogs. Centenary coming up to bat 5, 6, and 7. Designated player Aaron Lewis leads things off. Lewis, the only change in the lineup from the Centenary side we saw earlier, beat Trinity 4-0 in the quarterfinal. Lewis, the 5'7" freshman righty from Leesville, Louisiana.
And she steps into the box. Margot Smith got a little rough there, a couple walks. But she's able to get, you had the player of the year at the plate. Look, definitely some nerves there. Was able to get the fly out and get out of the inning. And as we look at Lewis, Lewis comes into the box, 164 hitter, 5 doubles, 10 RBI on the season, as she will step into the box to face Raycroft.
Gonzalez and Gillette to follow.
First pitch misses for a ball.
So Raycroft walked her counterpart, Margot Smith, but aside from that, 3 strikeouts. Her first inning in the circle.
You can kind of see early on, this is a little bit of a tighter zone. We'll see how these pitchers adjust to that, because there are some pitches we saw in earlier games that were strikes that are not going to be strikes this game, and that's totally fine, but you've got to be able to adjust to it.
It is a small zone early on. 2-0 the count to Lewis. Big cut. Strike 1.
That was a big, big cut by Lewis.
Raycroft, the senior, hoping to win a title for the Bulldogs in her last year there in Seguin. Another big cut. Lewis unable to lay off the rise ball.
That's going to have to be something you watch because you know those are always going to be balls in that case, but they're so unbelievably hard to lay off of.
Raycroft, just a beautiful rise ball. It starts perfectly in the zone, even low in the zone, and just rises so quickly as Lewis goes down swinging. 4th strikeout in 5 batters faced for Raycroft.
Just dealing as of right now. And, you know, you just got to show, you got to know when you're coming to the plate and realize that, hey, strike zone's a little tight. I'm going to have to take a little bit. Try to, you know, you see that rise ball initially, you want to jump on it so badly. You're going to have to take and kind of work these counts and take this tighter zone to your advantage.
Left fielder Cassie Gonzalez at the plate, already down in the count. 0-1 is the junior from Vidalia, Louisiana.
Yeah, she had an RBI in her last contest as she swings and misses, or fouls that one off, I should say. A .238 hitter, a double and 5 RBI. And she came through late in that Trinity game with an RBI to push the lead to 4-0.
First baseman Gillette waiting on deck. Gonzalez swings through it. And another strikeout for Raycroft.
I mean, she just continues to do work. I mean, what can you say, honestly? I mean, she's one of the leaders in strikeouts, not only in the conference, but in the nation for a reason.
Halen Raycroft having now struck out 5 of the 6 that have come up to face her. Can she make it 6 of 7? First baseman Gillette at the plate.
She's not quite Hannah Hull of Virginia Wesleyan, who has 228, which is just a number that is insane.
And Hull won the national title last year as a freshman up there in Oklahoma City. She was absolutely spectacular against the Patriots of UT Tyler, among other teams.
She is in the top 35, though, with her 120. So, obviously, one of the nation's premier pitchers. She takes a little bit off of that one. And, you know, that's where it's nasty, kid, when you can work that rise ball, such a tough pitch to hit, and then you're thinking you're going to get on it, you're thinking you're timing it up, and she just throws that changeup on you. And what can you do? I mean, what can you do?
1-2. Gillette able to get just a piece of it, enough to stay alive.
A little bit of an excuse me swing there by Gillette, but she will certainly take it to stay alive. Gillette on the season is a .360 hitter. We mentioned it earlier, 14 doubles on the season, 2 home runs and 19 RBIs. It's really something you don't see often. A player who has 14 doubles but only 19 RBIs clearly just hasn't come up in a lot of situations with runners in scoring position.
Gillette, the junior from Orange, Texas. There in the Golden Triangle, Southeast Texas.
Why is it golden?
That's a very good question, and I'm disappointed in myself that I do not know why it is referred to as the Golden Triangle, the Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange area.
Fair enough.
I will do some research, and I will come back to you with an answer. That much I can promise.
I look forward to your answer tomorrow. I'm sure this is going to bug you for the rest of the day.
And unfortunately, it will. 1-2, bounced in. Count 2-2 to Gillette.
My partner here is a perfectionist, and, I mean, put him on the spot. He wants to know the answers. He wants to give you those answers. That's what he lives for.
I'm old enough to remember when you had to go to the library to find these things out. Now the power of Google, I can find things out in about 30 seconds. Count stays 2-2 to Gillette. Gillette, a good at bat here on Raycroft, forcing a lot of pitches.
Yeah, this is a nice job here by Gillette. Working the count now to 2-2, fouling some good pitches off.
This one off the hands will stay in play. Cantu back from behind the plate and makes the catch to end the inning. The Bulldogs coming up to bat in the bottom of the second, looking to break this scoreless deadlock. Bottom of the second. Bulldogs looking for the first runs of the game. It'll be the bottom of the order up for Texas Lutheran. 7-8-9. Left fielder Skylar Roulette leads things off. Catcher Alyssa Cantu and the right fielder McKay blocks him. Asked me why the Golden Triangle was thus named. Well, I could have told you this. Obviously, Spindletop, the first big gusher in the state of Texas, in that area of Beaumont, Port Arthur, and Orange. There's a history of riches beneath the surface, and thus the name Golden Triangle.
See, you learn things on the broadcast as well. This is more of a reason to turn in. You get to learn a little bit.
Skylar Roulette leads things off. The freshman from Gregory Portland.
Roulette a .369 average, 9 doubles, 24 RBI, and she's going to rip one into left center.
That's going to go all the way to the wall. They will wave her on to second. Roulette with a lead-off stand-up double for the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. She just tattooed that one into left center. And the Bulldogs are rolling here in the second.
Now the catcher, Alyssa Cantu, sophomore, another Baytown Sterling product.
Number 9, Alyssa Cantu.
Cantu comes to the plate at .216 average with 4 RBI. I bet, and there it is. The bunt was coming.
Lays it down. Smith out of the circle to throw over to LeBlanc, who came over to cover from second, but a well-executed sacrifice bunt as Roulette now on to third.
You just hear the dugout. It's fun to see, you know, when the dugout's engaged and one of their teammates, not one of their best hitters, but's able to get a perfect bunt down and move that runner over, just gets the dugout excited. You like to see that as a coach as well.
Bottom of the order, McKay blocks him. Comes up to bat, the freshman from Katy.
Blocks them. Another one of these speedsters, a .341 average, 24 runs scored, 4 doubles, 3 triples, 18 RBI, 21 stolen bases as well on the season.
1-1 the count. The Smith a bit frustrated in that first inning, gave up 3 consecutive walks after retiring the first 2 Bulldogs that came to face her. Off the end of the bat, the shortstop Magoo there to make the catch for the second out.
Great location there by Smith. Was able to get Bloxham to get under it and pop it up into the infield. And, you know, Smith, for the troubles she's had, now is 1 out away from keeping the Bulldogs off the board. See if she can do it. This is a Bulldog team that hits .351 on the season.
Back to the top of the order. Kyla Lockley, senior third baseman, grounded out to short in her first at bat. Off the end of the bat to center. Ancelot there to make the catch. So the visitor is a lead-off double from Roulette, but they leave her stranded at third, and it remains scoreless through 2 between the ladies and the Bulldogs. Scoreless through the first 2 innings. Bulldogs have the lone hit thus far. The number 1 seed, TLU, taking on the 4 seed Centenary. Centenary victorious in their quarterfinal matchup, 4-0 over Trinity. They've earned the right to take on the Bulldogs here day 1 of the 2018 SCAC Softball Championship live from Southwestern University's Taylor Sanders Field. It'll be 8-9-1 coming up for the ladies. Shortstop Becca Magoo comes to the plate for her first at bat.
And Magoo stepping into the box. 0.95 average, 5 runs scored. What she's been more impressive at has been in the field so far. She has made some great plays so far at her shortstop position in both games, both today and yesterday.
Freshman from Brownsboro, unable to lay off that rise ball, and that is as good as Raycroft is, and as many pitches as she has in her arsenal, that is her ace pitch, so to speak.
You've seen it so far. You've seen it a lot. She'll mix that changeup in as well, but that rise ball, that is something else, I tell you. The movement on that thing, you really don't know until you step into the box and see how that thing moves, what that thing looks like out of her hand and where it ends up.
Magoo able to foul off the 0-2 pitch. Center fielder Kelsey Ancelot waiting on deck. Then he'll be back to the top of the order with the second baseman LeBlanc.
You know, if you're Margot Smith so far on the other side, you know, it hasn't been the prettiest of 2 innings, but you've gotten through 2 innings, and you've done a nice job. So how will that kind of play effect going forward? You've been able to get out of the inning and keep it a scoreless game so far.
Fouled back. Smith has given up just the 1 hit, but more importantly has not conceded a run.
I'll remind you, it's kind of similar to how the Trinity game started, and eventually when the ladies got around to their second at-bat, they were finally, well, thanks to the bat of Anna Dunn, we're finally able to get on the board and go from there.
Dunn the 2-run bomb as Magoo goes down swinging. Another strikeout for Raycroft,
Number 9, Kelsey Ancelot.
who now struck out 6 of the 8 she's faced.
I was gonna say, there's nothing more. You got to give her some credit. I mean, she is just nasty right now, and Centenary having a tough go, but first time through the lineup, as I've always said, once you get to the plate again, you know, maybe you can make some adjustments and see what you can do the second time around.
Another Golden Triangle product. Ancelot, the senior from Orange by way of Kilgore College.
It's a lot of 348 average, a triple and 3 RBI. We mentioned speed is her thing, 23 stolen bases this season. I had the pleasure of seeing her when they were in Georgetown, and she got on base a few times, and you could see why they like having her on base. Just great, great speed.
Cut for strike 2.
So we know the winner of this game gets into a good spot where you have a chance to play into the championship game tomorrow. So always a big game when you get to this point.
2-2 now to Ancelot. Fouls it back. Ancelot doing a good job seeing some pitches here from Raycroft.
Absolutely. She's doing well here. Top of the lineup coming up here shortly. You know, Raycroft, for as good as she's looked, as many as she has struck out, you got to give the ladies a little bit of credit. They are battling. I mean, they've gotten Raycroft up to 46 pitches only in the 3rd inning.
And another full count.
She has walked 1 today. And can they get Ancelot on first? That's definitely a different, it's almost a game changer if she can get on base.
Payoff pitch. Ancelot pops it up. Roach there at short for the second out. Back to the top of the order with the second baseman, Peyton LeBlanc.
It's about the leadoff, number 4.
You mentioned about the winner of this game. So the winner of this game moves on to tomorrow at 3 p.m. Well, they'll play the winner of the next game with a spot in the SCAC championship game on the line. That one's fouled off.
LeBlanc to transfer from Louisiana Lafayette.
Raging Cajuns, a great softball program, believe it or not.
Yeah,
They're
top 20 team.
always in the top 20. They've made the Women's College World Series a few times. A good little squad there. They always get a little fired up every now and then. I believe last year one of the regionals involved, or maybe a few years ago, I think Louisiana Lafayette and LSU ended up being in the same regional in softball. And, you know, that always just gets the Cajuns riled up.
Inside, 2-1. That's a matchup there in the state of Louisiana. You've got the Bayou Bengals and the Raging Cajuns going at it in any sport.
Well, as we all know, that one just misses for ball 3. LSU is the dominant team in Louisiana, but Louisiana Lafayette really wants to get in that same breath of LSU. So anytime they can take a shot at the King, as they say, you best not miss. And they would love to do that.
LeBlanc able to draw the walk. Second walk issued by Raycroft.
It looks like Centenary's finally now starting to see that rise ball a little bit better, knowing that that's going out of the zone. And like I said, not easier said than done, but this has been a little bit of a tighter strike zone. Maybe you do want to take a little bit, take a pitch or two, throw a strike, and go from there.
Runner was taking off. The hit and run was on, but fouled away by Smith. LeBlanc heads back to first.
Raycroft again up to 54 pitches. We'll see if softball is different from baseball, that you can easily go 120, 130, 140 without much trouble. It just all becomes stamina at that point.
But it's still early, just the third inning.
We say this where while Centenary does not have a hit, they seem to have some sort of game plan at the plate.
Oh-2, Smith fouls it off again.
She's been kind of the unsung hero today at the plate. She already has one walk today. She had 2 earlier. She's just had very, I would say, smart at-bats more than anything. Just very patient at the plate, despite right now being down 0-2.
2 away. Blanc at first, 0-2 pitch. Smith goes down, swinging another strikeout for Raycroft. Bottom of the third, still looking for the first runs in this one. Ladies and the Bulldogs scoreless. Bulldogs, #1 seed, coming up to bat. And it will be 2, 3, and 4 due up for TLU. Jordan, McEachern, and Padilla.
As we said earlier, a lot of speed for this Bulldog lineup. Jordan is definitely one of them. She will step into the box looking to get it started for TLU. It's had some base runners on, but they've left 4 on in the process.
Freshman center fielder Kelly Jordan grounded out to short in her first at bat. This is going to go over to short and gets by Magoo. A leadoff single for Jordan.
Jordan actually went up and got that one, but sent it right back up the middle. Nice effort there by Magoo, but couldn't bring it down. And beyond the lookout, Jordan, one of those speedsters we're talking about. She's only been caught stealing 1 time this year. She's 29 of 30, and I imagine she's going to go for number 30 at some point.
Brings up the first baseman, Kelsey McEachern. walked in her first at bat and lifts this one to left field. That is going to go past Gonzalez. Bulldogs bringing Jordan around, and she will score. And TLU has taken the lead in the bottom of the third, 1-0. The RBI double from Kelsey McEachern.
Just like that. I mean, we've only seen 2 pitches this inning. The first one, a single up the middle. The second one, a line shot down the left field line. And second time around the order, they're a lot more aggressive at the plate.
And, James, you mentioned it. What happens the second time around? You've seen a pitcher once, seen what they have. And it's the Bulldogs making the necessary adjustments now in their second time up to face Smith.
Smith has hung on, but now down 1-0, nobody out. Now, I want to give a little credit to Jordan there as well, as there's a swing and a miss. Jordan was taking off for second on a steal. And then when McEachern hit that down the left field line, she paused about 3/4 of the way to second to make sure it got down before taking off. Once she saw it was over the head, she was gone. But it just smart base running there by Jordan in what could have been a tough situation. She could have just kept running, and if that ball's caught, she would have been nailed.
2-1 now, the count to Padilla, the freshman, designated player, batting cleanup. See if she can change places with McEachern, who's made it 1-0.
Just a Bulldog team. You gotta almost play perfect. I mean, you can't make mistakes, especially in the circle. They'll make you pay. You've got to be perfect at the plate. They'll make you pay. They're just such a great, well-rounded team. They hit so well. They pitch so well. They run so well. They field so well. The list goes on and on.
There's a reason they've won 49 in a row in conference, looking for their 5th consecutive tournament championship.
And we said it earlier, and I stick to it. This is a good conference for softball. There's a lot of parity in this conference. There are some good teams. There is some good competition in this conference. Just the fact of the matter is Texas Lutheran is just a different level right now, especially on a national landscape.
The term I have heard over and over is juggernaut, and I think that is very appropriate.
Absolutely, and we'll see them, as we said, with the likes of UT Tyler and ETBU in the regional, and if they're able to get out of that, they're going to be right in the mix in Oklahoma City. I have no doubt about that.
Payoff pitch, Padilla underneath it to right field, done. Able to get there, comes up throwing. No chance for McEachern to tag up and head to third.
McEachern probably started to take a couple steps towards third and said no thank you. You could see Dunn, just another one of those athletes, just a cannon over in right field.
Brings up the second baseman, Madison Cates. Cates walked in her first at bat.
Cates gonna step up to the plate.
Cates chops this one over the head of Miller at third, who was played in, anticipating a possible bunt. Now the Bulldogs have runners on the corners.
You almost wonder if she, kind of saw that, how she was played in a little bit, and just kind of put one into the ground to hop it right over her head and bring up the SCAC Player of the Year.
Cassie Roach, shortstop, Conference Player of the Year. 0 of 1, flight out to right, and her only at bat.
You do wonder with this sort of matchup. Obviously, Roach deservingly named Player of the Year, but I imagine on the other side for Centenary, they probably felt their right fielder deserved that honor. So you wonder if maybe a little bit of a slight felt in that ladies' dugout.
Roach just foul down the third base line. Count moves to 0-2.
TLU almost swept the major awards. Roach named Player of the Year. Raycroft, who you've seen so far in action, the Pitcher of the Year. And then Coach Wilson named the Coach of the Year. One of those situations, you really can't argue with Coach Wilson getting Coach of the Year with the season they're having. But you look at the team that just showed up, the Shriner Mountaineers, who have been such a stunner this season. And that's another coach that's done such a wonderful job.
Off the lip of the glove of Miller at third. Another run comes in to score. And it's now 2-0 Bulldogs.
Now Roach just, again, didn't try to do too much with it. Just put it through the left side. And the Bulldogs ahead 2-0. And not to count out any hope at all against the ladies, but you feel like a 2-0 lead with your ace pitcher in the circle, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
I think the ladies were feeling pretty good about themselves through the first 2 innings. They'd kept it scoreless. Bulldogs been able to put 2 across here in the bottom of the third, have 2 aboard and 2 outs to work with. See if they can add a few more. Skylar Roulette, left fielder at the plate, 1 of 1. Led off the second with a stand-up double.
If you're the ladies, you gotta, again, just kind of stop the bleeding here. Get these last 2 outs, keep it 2-0. You've got a big bat and a Dunn that can change a game with 1 swing. We saw that earlier. Just gotta stay strong here and keep the runs to a minimum.
Now 1 ball, 2 strikes to Roulette.
I say that easier said than done when you got a team hitting 351 and does the things TLU can do.
Low gets between the legs of Hurley, and runners take the opportunity to advance.
And now the Bulldogs with an opportunity to break this one open a little bit.
To right field, Dunn there to make the grab. Runner tags up from third. Cates comes in to score. So Roulette with the sac fly makes it 3-0.
3-0 game there. I'll tell you, a great swing there by Roulette. Really put it in the right. Dunn with a good jump on it, able to make the play. Definitely, not that it's surprising because this is a team that's so aggressive on the base pass, but surprised to see him tag up there. I almost think Dunn was a little surprised they tagged up. Gates kind of took a couple steps back to third and took off and was able to beat it out.
And Dunn, we've seen it. She has a cannon, but Cates not phased. As soon as Dunn caught it, Cates was headed for home. Catcher Alyssa Cantu at the plate. Runner takes off to third. The throw, Miller unable to secure it. Roach in to score. And it's 4-0 Bulldogs.
And again, those type of errors just can't have them at this point.
The error there on Miller came off the lip of her glove. Couldn't secure it. The throw was on line.
It was.
But now the base is cleared. A 1-0 count to Cantu. In for a ball. It'll be 3-0.
And this is any of the batters with the Bulldogs, this is the one you don't want to lose. As Cantu is the one who is, a great catcher behind the plate for fielding purposes, but she has struggled at the plate this season, hitting in the low 200s.
Fouls it off. Now the count full.
Nice job by Smith fighting back. And ladies are going to have an uphill. They're going to have to climb uphill to get back into it, but I want to keep it as is.
Cantu picked up by Miller. The throw in time ends the inning, but not before the Bulldogs take the lead. 4 runs on 4 hits. No runners left aboard. 4-0 Texas Lutheran as we head to the 4th. To the fourth we go. Bulldogs taking a 4-0 lead. All 4 runs coming in the bottom of the third. Now we'll see if the ladies of Centenary can battle back against the #1 seed, #2 team in the country. Again, they have won 49 straight in conference. I've said it a few times, but a stat like that bears repeating.
Absolutely. And again, in the conference they play, and it's pretty darn impressive, and it's going to be an uphill battle for the ladies. But we'll see what they can do. Crazier things have happened in the sport of softball.
Certainly not impossible, not insurmountable by any stretch.
Just difficult when you have the SCAC Pitcher of the Year.
Good news is Anna Dunn leads things off. First team All-SCAC selection for the ladies. Big cut for strike one. Dunn, Hurley, Lewis due up for Centenary. Foul the back as Dunn finds herself in an 0-2 hole.
For Centenary, again, they've had some pretty good, pretty decent approach on Raycroft, and you really don't want to get away from that and start getting over-aggressive. I think then you're playing into Raycroft's game.
One and two.
Should have a doozy for our third game today. Southwestern and Shriner are going to square off at 6:30.
Dunn caught looking, goes down. Another strikeout for Raycroft.
And we get a couple words from the third baseline. From Coach Swear. Did not be consistent, basically. Not very happy with the calls here.
8 strikeouts for Maitland Raycroft. Sydney Hurley, the catcher, up to bat. One of those victims struck out looking her first time up.
No, Raycroft's had quite a few no-hitters this season. And you can kind of see why with how dominant her stuff is. I think what's interesting about this, and this is no slight, no disrespect to anybody, you know, a lot of times, especially with #1 seeds, you have such a strong pitching staff that maybe you throw your #2 in a game like this and save your #1 for what will be the #2 or #3 seed the next day. Not the case for TLU, and not that I blame them either, because any team, anybody can do anything at any time. They go with their ace. That's what they do, and that's what they're going to roll with. And probably shows that they have a lot of trust in their #2 and #3 pitcher down the line.
I wonder if that was going to be the case, if we might see Jordan Bishop starting this one. But no, it's Raycroft.
Well, and we said it earlier. Again, if you look at the SCAC stats, and the top 3 pitchers, and at least based on ERA, are all from Texas Lutheran.
2-2. Finds the bottom of the zone. Hurley goes down looking. 9th strikeout recorded.
Well, there's being patient, but there does come a time you gotta get the bat off your shoulders and put some swings out there.
Designated player Aaron Lewis up to bat.
9 strikeouts already for Raycroft, only in the top of the 4th.
That being said, the ladies have gone down in order only once. That was back in the 2nd.
Yep, they have forced a pair of walks on Raycroft, but not only haven't gotten a hit, they really haven't gotten much in play so far today.
Lewis digs back in, awaiting the 0-1. Watches it high.
Get you a little bit updated with how the tournament will play out. The loser of this game, which is Game 3, will play Dallas tomorrow at 10 a.m. As the 1-1 pitch swung on and miss. The loser of this game gets Dallas at 10 a.m. elimination game. And then the loser of our next game, Shriner and Southwestern, will get the loser from game 1, which was Trinity University, at 12:30 p.m. Another elimination game. So two teams will go home by 2 o'clock. And then our 3 o'clock game will feature the winner of game 3 and game 4, which is this game you're watching right now, Texas Lutheran. And then the winner of that Shriner Southwestern game, and then we'll play the rest out from there. And of course, this all important because you play that game at 3 o'clock tomorrow. The winner of that game gets the seat everybody wants to be in on Sunday. The team that only needs to win one game to be named SCAC champion.
3 up, 3 down, all struck out by Raycroft. Ladies still looking for their first hit off of Maitland Raycroft. Bottom of the 4th, 9-1-2 due up for the Bulldogs to face Margot Smith. Bulldogs able to put 4 runs on the board their last at bat. Looking to add to that lead here. The number 1 seed in the conference championship. Taking on the 4 seed Centenary College ladies. Right fielder McKay Bloxham leads things off for TLU. Bloxham popped up to short in her first time at the plate.
Well, Smith going to go back to work, and if you want any shot of any sort of comeback here this afternoon, you've got to stop these TLU bats in their tracks right now, which, as I've said a few times, easier said than done.
Over to second, LeBlanc. The throw to first, not in time. Bloxham able to beat it out with the leadoff single.
A little bit of a delayed call by Boudreaux down the first base line, and that's going to bring Swear out, who's already a little frustrated with the umpiring so far. He's going to have a talk. And
that was a very delayed call from the first base umpire, Gwen Boudreaux. She took about 4 seconds after the throw was made over to first from LeBlanc.
For what it's worth, I actually do think it was the right call. I think Bloxham actually beat it out. But obviously a bang play.
Bloxham safe at first after a leadoff single. Back to the top of the order for the Bulldogs. Kyla Lockley, the third baseman, looking for her first hit. She's 0 of 2.
That one, I guess, stayed fair until a sac bunt there for Lockley. I think everybody was kind of good job by the catcher, Lewis, coming out of her spot and getting the out. I think everybody was kind of sitting and waiting for a foul call.
It looks like that one was picked up on the plate, but home plate umpire said it was fair. Bloxham moves on to second. First out recorded is Kelly Jordan now at the plate for the Bulldogs.
Jordan into the box. She singled her last at bat, 1 for 2 on the day with a run scored. We go back to that third inning. She led the inning off. First pitch she saw, she singled and then came around to score. on a double.
1-1. Make it 1-2 after Jordan fouls it off.
Now we talk about the softball championships this weekend. We also have the track and field championships going on down at TLU's home in Seguin. That got underway today.
Over to short, picked up by Magoo. The throw to first in time. Bloxham able to advance on to third.
Smart by Bloxham. She knows her teammate well, knows her teammate has a lot of wheels, and knows the shortstop Magoo has no time to waste looking her back. She came off the bag knowing that either Magoo had to commit to her or she had to go to the bag, and so she was able to advance no problem even though the ground ball was in front of her. That's just smart base running there.
So 2 away. Bloxham at third, looking to make it 5-0. It'll be the number 3 hitter, first baseman Kelsey McEachern.
McEachern had the double we were talking about that got the scoring started for the Bulldogs.
And McEachern, an RBI double her last time up, walked in her first at bat. And this is going to go to center field, drops for a base hit in front of Ancelot. Bloxham comes in to score the RBI single for McEachern. Now 2 runs batted in.
And now a 5-0 lead for TLU. In full force here today.
Padilla looking for her first hit. Padilla to right field, done backtracking, and that is gone. Haley Padilla, the 2-run home run, makes it 7-0 Bulldogs.
Padilla with some power there, just a little oppo shot to right field, her 8th of the season, and the Bulldogs have opened up a 7-0 lead.
2 outs in the bottom of the 4th, so the Bulldogs, the first time up to face Smith, not a lot of luck. Second time making the necessary adjustments, 4 runs in the 3rd. They already have 3 here in the 4th. Madison Cates comes to bat.
See, Amberly Nix just took a trot down to the bullpen. They're going to start getting her warmed up. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, actually I'm pretty sure I'm not. I believe the 8-run rule is in effect this weekend. And the Bulldogs are 1 away from putting that into effect, possibly.
In for strike. 1-1 to Cates.
That's be an exciting time here. We've mentioned the lights here at Taylor Sanders Field. They're going to be on for a ball game for the first time at 6:30.
Magoo able to field it, makes the throw to Gillette in time. 6-3 ends the inning, but not before the Bulldogs are able to put 3 more across. 7-0 TLU on top of Centenary as we head to the 5th. To the 5th we go. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the ladies, trailing at 7-0. They were able to hold the Bulldogs scoreless through the first 2, but then TLU erupting for 4 in the 3rd, 3 more in the 4th. And the ladies have to get something going They're looking for their first run. They are looking for their first hit off of Maitland Raycroft. They have yet to come up with one thus far. 6, 7, and 8 due up. Left fielder Cassie Gonzalez will lead it off.
Well, I've heard all about Maitland Raycroft, and, this is the first time I've been able to see her in person, and she is every bit as impressive as advertised.
She is indeed, but this is a complete Bulldogs team. It is not just Raycroft. They have great pitching. They have great pitching. Make no mistake about it. Nobody's arguing that. But this is a team that can hit, they can field, they can get it done in every aspect of the game, and that is what makes them so good.
And I think this is where Wade Wilson wanted to get. I recall some of those Texas Lutheran teams a few years back that were very good teams, that were top 25 teams, but they were strong in some areas and maybe not quite as strong, at least in a national landscape, as they needed to be. And this was the point they wanted to get to, where they had a great all-around team, and they've gotten to this point. And, I tell you what, I'm guessing more than likely that regional might be in Seguin, maybe Tyler, but that's going to be the spot to be next week.
No joke. Gonzalez, unable to lay off the rise ball, goes down. 11 strikeouts now for Raycroft.
Raycroft last year, 8 no-hitters. This year, she's at 3. 11 so far in her TLU career.
And she struck out 5 in a row.
And now she's struck out. I mean, she's just looking every bit as dominant right now. I liked Centenary trying to be patient at the plate. Now they're trying to, step up the aggression. And, again, I think that just plays right into what Raycroft wants, because she'll hit you with those rise balls. And just when you think you're trying to catch up, here comes a changeup. Here comes, a breaking ball. Here comes so many different pitches.
Paints the outside corner. She has great movement, can go inside, can go out, can go low, can go high in the zone.
And I would say maybe early on, I think it was maybe a little bit of adrenaline rushing, a little bit of a slow start and finding the zone. That hasn't been the case anymore. She is in a zone. She is in a rhythm right now.
1-2 to Gillette. Gillette sends this one to center field, but ranging over to her left is Jordan. And Jordan keeps the no-hitter alive.
So we've already said it at this point, so might as well roll with it.
That was about as close as the ladies have gotten. That one looked initially that it was going to drop, and give Jordan a lot of credit.
Yeah, I was going to say Gillette put a good swing on that one and lifted it into right center. And Jordan, on the other hand, got a really good jump on it, was able to get over and make the catch on the line out. It really was a pretty solid hit ball there. Probably the first one that's really squared one up today.
I give Jordan credit. You don't want to be the one who jinxes it and breaks the no-no, but a play like that, give credit where credit is due to the center fielder, Kelly Jordan.
We'd have to check with the SCAC stats and research department. I'm not sure, if we stick with a no-hitter here, I'm not sure we've ever seen one in conference tournament history. I believe we've seen a one-hitter or two, but I don't think we've ever seen an actual no-hitter Don Larson style.
1-2 now, the count to Magoo.
Of course, Larson threw a perfect game. I guess I should give him the, and it was the World Series, but, SCAC Championships, World Series, what's the big difference, really?
I don't see it. To center field, Jordan there to make the catch. And again, the ladies go in order, still looking for their first hit, still looking for their first runs. As we will head to the bottom of the 5th, 7-0, Bulldogs lead.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by the Shoning Hip Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, use of sound bites and interviews, and use of any other content, including audio or video, without the direct written consent and permission by the Shoning Hip Network is strictly prohibited and protected by federal and copyright laws. All rights are reserved by the Shoning Hip Network and SHNSports.com.
Bottom of the fifth, Bulldogs looking to add to this 7-0 lead. The 1 seed, Texas Lutheran, in full control against the 4 seed, Centenary. Centenary, winners of their quarterfinal matchup, 4-0 over Trinity earlier today. They have won the right to play the number 1 seed here in the conference championship. The number 2 team in the country. What do they say? Be careful what you wish for.
It doesn't go very well, does it?
6, 7, and 8 due up. Roach got the left fielder. Gonzalez turned around, and Roach easily on to second with a leadoff stand-up double.
That is her second hit of the game. She had an RBI single earlier in the SCAC Player of the Year. Just drives that one into left field. A base hit can technically end this game here.
Now batting number 16, Skylar Ouellette.
Skylar Ouellette, left fielder. She's 1 of 2. Had a sacrifice fly her last at bat. That made it 3-0.
She also had a double her first at bat, so an RBI on the day. Nice little 1-for-1 day thus far for Ouellette.
Don't forget, we still have a game to follow. That will feature Schreiner and Southwestern to right field. Over the head of Dunn, can't get to it. They're going to wave Roach around. Roach comes in to score.
That'll do it.
And that will indeed do it. So in 5, 8-0, the run rule comes into effect. The number 1 seed, Texas Lutheran University Bulldogs, take down the Centenary ladies. And the ladies now with backs against the wall. Maitland Raycroft, I should say, the senior righty from Spring, Texas, out of Klein High School with the no-hitter. Our own James Hill heads down to the diamond. Speak with the winning head coach, Wade Wilson, and his Bulldogs. Now 50 straight wins in conference play. They are looking for their 5th consecutive conference championship tournament crown. And 1 step closer to doing just that. So we were saying, don't forget, we will have our 4th and final game here in day 1 of the SCAC Softball Championship, featuring the hosts, Pirates of Southwestern University, taking on the 2 seed Schreiner University Mountaineers. Hope you'll join us for that. And tomorrow, another full game as well, right here on SHN Sports. 5 games for you tomorrow. So we now head down to the diamond. James Hill joined by head coach Wade Wilson. And the starting pitcher, the senior, Maitland Raycroft.
We are here with Texas Lutheran head coach Wade Wilson, and then Maitland Raycroft. The Bulldogs defeat Centenary 8 in 5 innings. And coach, talk a little bit about this offense. You guys got it going in the 3rd inning. Seemed to make some nice adjustments at the plate. Talk a little bit about it.
Well, we left one in the 2nd. We should have scored. You know, I was pretty upset and disappointed in that. We didn't have a real good at bat with McKay Bloxham, and then kind of got on them a little in the 3rd inning, and they answered. And they're known for that. So I'm very proud of them. I thought Maitland was phenomenal in the circle, and offensively we got really big hits after the 3rd inning.
Talk a little bit about Maitland. She really seemed to get into a rhythm, especially after the first 2 innings. Really was able to shut this offense down pretty well. Talk a little bit about her performance.
Well, I think Centenary is such a good offensive team that I was a little worried early on because she got behind the batters, you know, and then she settled down and started getting ahead, and I think she was a few of those kids were overmatched, and I thought Maitland, we needed to see that. I needed to see that out of Maitland today, and she threw really well today. I'm very proud of her, the way she competed.
Maitland, a important no-hitter. Congratulations on that. Tell me about some adjustments you were able to make as, you know, after a little bit of a slow start after 2 innings.
Yeah, I just really tried to get ahead. I think that's something that me and Coach Wilson really worked on, and he wanted to see me compete, and that's kind of been something that he's been stressing all throughout conference play. So just really getting the girls amped and getting after there and feeling like myself. And I think that's when we all play the best. And it was great. I'm on a high right now. I love my team so much. And to see them compete was great.
Well, you had 11 strikeouts, but obviously tell me just defense behind you and being able to have a defense like you saw a couple nice catches by Kelly, especially in that 5th inning. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it kind of puts me at ease. I think any pitcher can back me up on that when you're in the circle and you have a great defense behind you. And yeah, it calms my nerves. It makes me feel like I can go out there and take a hold of the game. And knowing that I have a great 8 behind me and at the plate, I think that they complement me really well. And yeah, I couldn't do any of that without them. So I'm really thankful.
Texas Lutheran defeats Centenary 8-0 in 5 innings. They move on to tomorrow's game at 3 p.m.
Thanks, James. And as you heard, the #1 seed Bulldogs of Texas Lutheran, a perfect, well, I should say a no-hitter, not a perfect game there from Maitland Raycroft, but they will certainly take it. And they are victorious 8-0 in 5. The Bulldogs with the victory over the Centenary College ladies. Invite you to join us. 4th and final game coming up today. The host, Southwestern University Pirates, set to take on the #2 seed Shriner University Mountaineers. Live from the 2018 SCAC Softball Championship, Taylor Sanders Field here at Southwestern University.